Hey guys, 3D Printed Life here once again, and today this video is going to be about all the upgrades I've done to make my Cubed 2-up print as well as it does today, which is pretty good. Still room for improvement, but there's still upgrades to be made. So let's get started. The very first thing I printed, most essential thing I would say, is this guy, the wayyyy idler assembly. That was made by MacAttak, and of course the links to everything I talk about will be in the description. Most of the stuff I made myself, so most of it's going to be just in one link to my Thingiverse page, but the stuff made by others I will definitely include a link to. Moving on to the next recommended update in order. You don't have to do these in order, obviously, however you see fit, do them. But this is just what I did, was this slider here, this the Gantry Slider. It's got a belt clip, so you don't have to use any glue. Screws go right through it, and the bearings just clip in quite simply. As you can see, I have a zip tie on there, on the bottom one, just for added security, but it works just as well without them. And this was made by the user Lonuf, L-O-N-U-F. Again, link will be in the description. He actually has a few different models that you can pick from. This is just the standard 2-bearing one with the zip tie holes, as you can see there. But again, you don't have to use the zip ties if you don't want, it still works. The next upgrade I would say you should probably do is these dampening feet. I've made these myself. They are just kind of, you can't see the whole thing because it goes underneath, but it's just a simple brace that the printer sits on, and it's got pretty big feet, not huge feet, but that's all you really need for this kind of thing. And this greatly reduces the noise, and it also makes it so you can tape it down much easier. I was having issues trying to keep this printer in one place before, especially when doing high-speed prints. So in this case, I was just able to put 2 little pieces of duct tape flipped on itself on these 2 front feet, and that was enough to keep it in place since pretty much since I built this thing like a few weeks ago. So that was pretty good, and it reduces the noise by quite a bit, depending on what surface you're on. If you're on something hollow like a cheap desk, then this will help a lot. If you're on something solid, it probably won't, so it might not be necessary. Next thing, leveling the bed is a pain in the ass, but this helps a little bit. These are just little nut holders. They just kind of clip on, and they hold the nut underneath in place. That's really all there is to it. So you can completely remove the bed. The nuts will still be there, so all you have to do is screw in the screw with the spring, and it will find the nut, and it will hold the nut, and you know, simple as that. I also made that design, and that will be found in the description like the rest. Next thing, this is a major one. This Gantry. Huge thing, huge recommendation. It greatly increased my print quality personally. It reduced the sag. As you can see, there's still, actually it's kind of a bit still, but it definitely got better. And if I put like wrapped Kapton tape around these rods, I could probably get it even better than it is now. But that's still stuff to work on later, little things like that. And this mod was made by StefanBurger, S-T-E-F-A-N Burger. Link will be in the description, like always. You know, I probably should stop saying that, but whatever. Just a thing to note about it, it will require 2 M3 by 20mm or similar screws and 2 M3 nuts, just for this thing, the screw, whatever you call it, because the stock screws are too big and they don't come with nuts. So that's it, but that's easy to buy at your local hardware store, no big deal. The next thing is also made by me. This is just a very simple Z-rod top holder brace thing, whatever you call it. It's essentially a fully enclosed thing that just slides over this top piece, and then it's got a hole for the screw, and it's got a nice snug fit for the rod in there. Screw still reaches the stock length of screw. All you need is a skate bearing, the 6mm or so tall, 8mm inner diameter, 22mm outer diameter. I believe they're called the 608ZZ bearings or something like that. It might be 60822. I don't really know. But you know, definitely a good thing to have. But be warned, you do have to use this with some kind of coupling, if you use it with the stock hole that's in the top of the rod, well, bottom of the rod, this rod might not be high enough to reach this, which obviously wouldn't work. Which brings me to my next recommended upgrade that I've done. And that is just a very simple coupling made by Kezat, K-E-Z-A-T. The whole point of it is just really simple, and it should allow a little bit of flex, but mainly get the rod quite a bit straighter than the stock hole in case your hole was tapped at an angle, like I believe many people were reporting were. The screw kind of screws into this piece and it stays tight, and then it slides onto the rod. Everything is a pretty snug fit, so you shouldn't need any glue or anything like that. But it depends on your printer tolerances and all that stuff. You may have it end up being too loose or too tight, in which case you may have to modify the file or just modify the piece physically a bit. Alright, and that's getting pretty close to the end. We just got 2 more upgrades. A pretty big one that I should have mentioned quite a while ago, but I took for granted, is the fan bracket. And this fan bracket here was also made by Kezat, same person as the coupling. Pretty cool thing. What I did was I just super glued it on here because tape wasn't cutting it for me. And then I took 2 M3 by 10mm screws, I believe, and nuts. Actually, I lied. These are 20mm, I'm pretty sure. But I don't know, whatever they are, they fit on there. It screws in nicely. You can also use zip ties, but I figured screws look nicer. Kezat also made a few replacement pieces for right here. This little cross piece, one so you can more easily lift it up and load the filament, and the other was just strengthened and had a bigger slot for the screw. So those are definitely a good thing to print if you were planning on keeping the stock extruder. And this brings me to my final 2 things. One is still a work in progress, so bear with me. I'll go to that first. This guy was meant to be a filament guide and a wire harness clip, and it ended up being just a wire harness clip. So I'm still working on something to guide this filament so it doesn't rub on here. But honestly, by the time I do that, I will probably not be hanging my filament spool anymore. Oh, that's another one, but that's really just a cross piece, so you can do that with any piece of PVC you want. Oh my god, my printer is having issues right now. Crap. Don't look. Don't look. This is exactly why I am printing myself a new extruder. Because unfortunately the hole for my hot end has been worn down too much from removing it, and I can't fit screws in there because of this piece, so I'm having issues, but I will figure them out, don't you worry. Oh crap. Okay, on that note, let's go to the final upgrade here. This is just a printer board case made by somebody else. Let me just quickly check. Alright, so this was made by Takigama, but I modified it a bit to mount to the stock power supply that you are given for the 1-up and the 2-up, just so it could screw in and mount all nicely on top there. But yeah, it's pretty nice. I bought an extra fan to put on it. All the wires come out here, the wire management and stuff. It makes it look a hell of a lot nicer, I must say, having this as opposed to just the board out here with all the wires going everywhere. So that's definitely a very, very nice upgrade. I would definitely recommend once you have all the essentials in order. But yeah, like I just said, the stock extruder kind of sucks. Unless you're using all the stock pieces and you're able to use the screws. But I'll figure something out to fix that. Just long enough so that I can print me one of these guys. It's really quite a pain in the ass at the moment. But what can you do, you know? Alright, so thank you all for watching. Again, links for everything I just mentioned will be in the description, so feel free to go below and check them all out. There is no real correct order to print them in, but there are definitely a few that will be more beneficial to your printing quality and to your experience, so those you'll probably want to print sooner. Such as this Y idler bearing thing, the nut holders, dampeners, and this slidey tray. Well, as long as your hot end is tight, apparently. And then definitely this once you get printing, what's the word? can't think of the word, reliably enough that you'll be able to manage 2.5 to 3 hour prints. So thank you all for watching. I'll see you later.